podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Blueberry.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
The Big G, Tokyo Town, StompDown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown. We are so excited you're with us. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham, brought to you by eCinemaOne.com, Subject Cinema, and Kim's Patreon-only Kaiju Corner. We're doing all kinds of stuff. 31 days of Godzilla films, counting down to Legendary's release of Godzilla King of the Monsters on May 31st.
So excited.
Man, is that becoming like...
So excited. I'm so excited.
What is that supposed to be?
What?
That I'm so excited. Is that it sounds like a Muppet?
The song.
Oh, is that what you're saying? You're singing?
I just can't hide it.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're about to bash some cities.
Okay, Miss Pointer, let's settle down.
All right.
We are up to 1992 and the fourth film in the Godzilla Heisei series from the 1990s. From 1992, Godzilla vs. Mothra.
Yep.
This was not a remake of the earlier film,
nope.
of the Mothra or Godzilla vs. the Thing.
Yes. Well, that's what it was called in this country.
Right, yeah. This movie is also known as Godzilla and Mothra, The Battle for Earth, and is described as a science fantasy kaiju film. Okay. Written by the director of the past two films, Kazuki Omori, and he had actually started work on the script for this before he directed Biollante and King Ghidorah. He had started. It was supposed to be a Mothra standalone film back in the mid 80s, and then it eventually was worked on and reformulated and repackaged into this new film.
I think it's really interesting.
Again,
because
you've seen this. I have not seen any of the Heisei films, so everything is on her in this next few days. So.
I watched these, and if I've never mentioned this, I know I've mentioned this place before, but when I was growing up in Saugus, there was a video store down the street from where I lived. It was called Video Waves.
Woohoo!
And I loved this store.
They had all kinds of eclectic stuff in there.
I loved this store.
I wish we'd known when they were going out of business. We would have cleaned up.
I know. They had a ton of wrestling tapes, a ton of anime, and a ton of kaiju films that you couldn't find anywhere else. And I was in there pretty much every week renting something new. So that's where I would get a lot of my kaiju stuff, and that's where I got this.
We should point out also that this was, unadjusted for inflation, the second highest grossing film in Japan in 1993, and remains the highest grossing film of the Toho Godzilla films overall.
Yep.
It was second only to Jurassic Park in 1993. How ironic is that? Dinosaurs and Godzillas.
Yep.
Okay.
The thing that I find so interesting is, like you mentioned, this was written by the gentleman that wrote both Godzilla vs. Biollante
both the messed up ones?
and Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Now you have this film where you have elements from both of those previous films where you have Godzilla fighting a monster that he's fought before in Mothra, and a new monster which we see in the film called Batra.
He looks pretty nasty too.
Batra is not attractive. I mean, I'm sorry. I realize it's very shallow of me, but
no, he's a pretty tough looking dude.
He's not attractive. No. The time of this film is the mid 90s, mid 1992, and it's happening after the events of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, so we're still in that universe. And a meteor streaks through space and crashes in the Osagawa Trench, and that winds up bringing Godzilla out of his slumber because I guess he was sleeping.
I thought he woke up and was walking around the floor of the ocean at the end of the last one.
Yeah, but he probably had to take a nap. I mean, he just defeated Mecha King Ghidorah. Give him a break. You know, I think you'd probably want to take a snooze after that too.
Okay.
So he, like I said, the meteor hits and this awakens Godzilla, and now we go forward 6 more months, and an explorer named Fujito is arrested because he had stolen an artifact. There's this part of the film is very, 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 very tacked. 25 more varies on there. Obviously influenced by the Indiana Jones movies. I mean, you're sitting there going, da 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 da. At least I was.
I don't get where you're going, but I haven't seen it. So.
This guy is very much fancies himself the Japanese version of Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler alert: he's not.
Right.
A representative from the Prime Minister says that they will drop the charges against Fujito if he goes to explore this one island called Infant Island, which should sound familiar to anybody who's a kaiju fan. The thing is, he's supposed to go with a woman named Masako Tezuka and also a man named Kenji Ando, who works for a company called the Marumoto Company. Now, he's very hesitant about going with Masako because Masako is his ex-wife. I don't know what the Japanese word for awkward is.
Awkward!
But this would be it. So they show up on the island, and as they're exploring the island, they're exploring this one cave, they find this painting in the cave of these 2 giant insect-like creatures, and they look like they're having some kind of a fight. So...
Well, thank goodness, that's all it was.
It's not that kind of a movie.
Okay, just saying.
So they keep exploring the cave, and they find this enormous egg, and they find, not just do they find this huge egg, they find these 2 tiny little women that look exactly alike, and say that they're called the Cosmos. Okay. And that the egg belongs to the island goddess, Mothra. And the Cosmos tell the humans that there was this civilization long ago that tried to... They were trying to control the climate of the planet. They were trying to do weather control. And that upset the Earth because, natural balance and humans need to know their place and blah, blah, blah. And the Earth itself created a being called Mothra, who was supposed to basically, teach us uppity humans a lesson. But the problem was that Mothra had its own agenda, which was apparently just mindless destruction. And it started to wreck the very planet that had created it to try and be, controlling the humans.
I think that's what it was intended to do, to wipe the humans that were screwing up with the planet.
Yeah, but he wound up wrecking the planet as well.
But that's what I mean. I think he was supposed to do that. Because it was, to stop the humans from doing what they were doing. To wipe out civilization. Noah's Ark. Okay. Just a thought. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, the problem was that Earth already had a protector, and that was Mothra. And she wound up fighting with Mothra, and Mothra eventually was defeated in that battle. And the Cosmos go on to say how this meteor that had struck the Earth 6 months earlier had, caused Mothra's egg to wind up becoming uncovered, and that this meteor hitting might also have woken up Mothra, who still has a mad on against humanity because we mess stuff up, because that's what we do, unfortunately. So the as I mentioned, the guy, Mr. Ando, works for this company called the Marimoto Company, and these aren't nice people. Maritomo, I'm sorry. Maritomo Company, and they're not nice people because they're a business in a Japanese movie, so they're not, they lash out at their own people. They don't, if you're a big business...
It's a representative of the same kind of thing that was in the original film.
Yeah. If you're a big business in a Japanese movie, 9 times out of 10, you're the bad guy.
Yep.
Or actually, you're the second level bad guy usually. So the Marimoto Company sends a ship to go and pick up the egg. They're saying they're going to protect the egg. I would think leaving the egg where the hell it is protecting the egg, but nobody asked me. So the thing is, they wind up taking the egg and they're, sailing off with it, and that's when Godzilla lurches out of the water. And at the same time, he starts heading toward this. He senses that there's another kaiju out there, and there is, in the fact that Mothra's egg hatches, and now there's a Mothra larva out there. Aren't they cute? The thing, they're actually not very cute. I gotta be honest. Anybody who says all babies are cute, that's a lie. That is a complete...
That's human babies, anyway.
That's also a lie. Oh. Because I've seen some ugly babies.
Oh my God, I don't believe you just went there.
You don't...
Honestly.
I'm sorry, have you met me? You know I would go there. The problem is that Batra apparently does also still exist and is also right now a larva. And winds up showing up and fighting both Godzilla and the Mothra larva, and the Mothra larva retreats to try and keep itself safe. So Godzilla and Batra start fighting each other because reasons, and they start fighting underwater, and the amount of energy that's being expended and the amount of damage they're doing to the planet, flipping each other around and tossing each other and stuff, winds up creating this big fissure in the ocean's floor, and that swallows up the both of them. So apparently that
gulp.
So apparently that problem's solved at the moment.
Nom, 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 nom.
The thing is, Fujito, Masako and Takuya, one of the other characters, they find out what the Marimoto's company's real intentions are.
Maritomo, you got to get that right. Maritomo,
I'm sorry. Their actual intentions are the Mr. Ando, working for the company, winds up capturing the cosmos as well, and he brings them to the company's headquarters, where the person, the CEO for the company, wants to use these young women as publicity figures, I'm sorry, didn't we used to call that slavery? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we still do call that slavery.
Yeah.
And the last time I looked, that was pretty illegal. Needless to say, this does not make Mothra happy. And when Mothra ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Mothra comes to Tokyo looking for the cosmos and winds up being attacked by the Japanese Self-Defense Force. Now, all of this would be solved if the people from this company weren't being a bunch of a-holes, but, They wind up wounding Mothra, who heads for the Diet Building, which is the seat of the Japanese government. And even though Mothra is wounded, she builds herself a cocoon. And obviously, to
protect and to get well, I would assume.
Yeah, to protect, to heal, and to evolve. While this is all going on, Godzilla apparently somehow dug himself out of that trench in the water because he shows up outside of Mount Fuji.
A hell of a swim.
Well, he is Godzilla after all. I mean, they don't call him the king of the monsters for no reason. He's got sick, mad cardio skills. Both of the bug monsters, Mothra and Batra, become their final forms. Mothra becomes this beautiful giant moth that she is, because she is beautiful. And Batra becomes what Batra is supposed to become. I don't know how. Batra kind of looks like what would happen if a moth and a bat had a baby.
Right, that's the kind of idea they're going for from that picture.
Yeah, he looks like what would happen if a moth and a bat had a baby and then baptized it in hell. That's what you get. So they wind up, Mothra and Batra, who are, centuries-long enemies, wind up fighting together at Yokohama's Cosmo World. Godzilla shows up and winds up attacking Batra first because Batra was the last monster that he fought, and apparently Godzilla holds grudges. Typical male. So Mothra and Batra decide somehow between some giant kaiju communication, I don't know, that they're going to team up and they're going to fight Godzilla because Godzilla's apparently a bigger threat than the both of them. I guess. I don't know. They wind up overwhelming Godzilla by working together, and they both pick Godzilla up and carry him over the ocean. Unfortunately, they don't carry him far enough that he's, able to... They don't get far enough away that he can't cause problems. Godzilla manages to turn while he's being carried and bites Batra in the neck, and... after he opens up a wound in Batra's neck, he blasts his atomic fire into the wound and kills Batra pretty much instantly. Now, Mothra can't carry Godzilla by herself because it's Godzilla, and she winds up dropping both Godzilla and Batra's body into the ocean, and she uses this form of magic, I guess you'd have to call it magic, I don't know. She uses the scales of her wings, and she creates this, I don't know how spell, we'll go with spell, to create like a barrier to trap Godzilla. As it turns out, and Godzilla's, stuck underwater and can't get back for some reason because of this magic. The Cosmos explains to the humans that Batra had been waiting for, the Batra actually was going to do something good in the fact that there was going to be another, meteor that was going to be hitting Earth in 1999. And Mothra had made a vow that she would destroy the meteor if Batra were to wind up being killed. So now we all have that to look forward to. And the Cosmos winds up, their whole thing is, our time here is done, we have to leave. And they leave Earth, and Mothra is left behind as Earth's protector, and Godzilla's somewhere at the bottom of the ocean. The end.
Yeah, so this really is Godzilla Into Darkness, right?
Say what?
This movie is a direct, similar to Star Trek Into Darkness. It's taken the entire first Godzilla vs. Mothra movie and turned it upside down while using the same exact plots everywhere. So in this one, Godzilla is Khan, not John Harrison. And Mothra and Batra turn out to be Kirk and Spock. So it's very much Godzilla vs. Mothra Into Darkness.
That hurt my head.
Well, I'm just getting it right from this. I mean, it's right out of it.
Okay, well, I hadn't thought about it that way because it's weird as hell. But okay, I see where you're coming from. I really do.
The whole plot to grab the Cosmos, to exploit them, and all this stuff. It's right out of the first film.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. You're absolutely right. That's
it's Godzilla Into Darkness. That's what we're going to call this from now on.
Okay. At no point in this film is Godzilla the protagonist. We have definitely the Heisei films.
He's back to being the bad guy.
I don't know if he's the bad guy so much as he is the anti-hero. Simply because, like with Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, after he kills Ghidorah, who is really the the antagonist of the film. Nobody's
turned on Tokyo.
Yeah, nobody's like, yay, Godzilla! They're like, yay, let's start shooting him before he wrecks us. Holy crap, too late, And we're definitely dealing in this film with Godzilla as a complete antagonist. He's never doing anything, in any way that anybody could be, any G apologist could be like, well, maybe he's trying to help out. You can't do that with this.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this one. I mean, the whole thing, like, it's the whole beginning of the film, which introduces the Vegito character, it's definitely like an Indiana Jones knockoff kind of a deal. I mean, they might have done that purposely to kind of take the piss out of a character like Indy. I don't know, but it was fun, and the introduction of a character like Batra was really interesting and really well done. The idea that Batra is almost this kind of dark twin to Mothra. And I think that's really, really interesting.
I think this is interesting, too. The final battle between Godzilla, Mothra, and Batra was originally meant to have a more elaborate conclusion. Godzilla would have been transported to sea only to kill Batra and plunge into the ocean, where he would have fallen on the submerged Stonehenge-like ruins of the Cosmos civilization, where Mothra would have trapped them with her force field, which I didn't even know she had at this point.
Yeah.
What the hell is up with that? Mothra's never been able to do stuff like that before.
No, but they didn't have the special effects budget back then. Perfectly honest with you, I think that's what it is. It's like, well, we have the money now, let's do something different. You have to remember, Mothra is considered a goddess. You're not considered a goddess unless you can actually do some stuff. So, I mean, there's that. This film did, like you mentioned, it did well in Japan. Unfortunately, it wasn't run in this country, in the US.
It was released direct-to-home video in 1998. And it actually did not get the best of reviews from places. Some places liked it. It was very mixed. Some places loved it. Others did not like it at all. Said it was rushed and that the plot made no sense. But, it had to be better than the two films that immediately preceded it, because it's just like, hey, on
You're
both
not
of those.
Changing my mind about Biollante.
Well, no, but you admit it's a messed up film.
I admit that it's weird, but just because it's weird doesn't mean that it's bad.
I know.
I don't think.
I didn't say it was.
I mean, look at me. I'm weird.
This was also the final connection to Godzilla that Ishiro Honda had. He visited the set during production just a few days before passing away. Honda, of course, a legend in the industry in Japan for creating such a character. Music, again, after returning the previous film, was by Akira Ikefube. He agreed to do it in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, and again here, only because he hated what they did with his original music in Godzilla vs. Biollante by some other arranger and stuff. Didn't like it. Interesting film, I suppose.
It is. I liked it. Like I said, I mean, I'm a Godzilla fan, so I'll always find something to like about a Godzilla movie, with one exception, looking at you, Roland Emmerich. But, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, I thought the introduction of a character like Batra was really interesting. Mothra's always been one of my favorite kaiju, simply because she represents the ladies. And it's Godzilla, so of course I'm happy.
Yep. Coming up tomorrow on the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown, we move forward to 1993, and a movie that is actually not a sequel to the original series, but a movie all its own, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. I don't know why they put the 2 on there after it, if it's not a sequel. And we will have that tomorrow, right here for you. I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Join us again for the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown from Subject Cinema, Kaiju Corner at eCinemaOne.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.